On today's episode, I am going to share the in and outs of one decision that we made that effectively tripled our revenues. Welcome to the Simple Profit Podcast. I'm your host, Tule, the founder of My Studio, which is the leading management and billing software for your business. I'm also the founder of Encourage Martial Arts. We have 5 locations in Northern Virginia, each grossing $1 million each in revenue annually. And the Simple Profit Podcast is focused on one thing and one thing only. That is to share insights and strategies to help you to build $1 million grossing businesses. That's all we do, okay? Please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube as well as your favorite podcast platform. On today's episode, I am going to share the in and outs of one decision that we made as a team that effectively tripled our revenues. That is 3 times the sales of our revenues. Not only that, the decision that we made helped our staff to be a lot more happy, which in turn reduced staffing churn, which is a big thing for us. When you start to operate multiple locations, the one thing that we don't want to happen is lose good staff members, because not only are you losing money, the money that you paid to your staff, you're also losing time. The time that it took to train that staff, the time that it will take for you to replace that staff and even to recruit them, right? Because that takes a lot of time from you as the business owner. Instead of growing your company, you're now trying to find a new replacement for a team member. Also, which also helped with the churn of the staff, is it allowed our staff members, the main one, to make over 6 figures a year while working 20% less, by the way. We're going to go into that today, which is pretty exciting. And the decision that we made, right, that allowed us to have all of these benefits, and the biggest one is, of course, tripling our revenue, was the decision that we made to simplify our product. Which is, for us at Encourage Martial Arts, was the curriculum that we were teaching to our students, the martial arts instructions that we were providing. And it all started with us asking questions, right? Because if you just say, hey, why do I simplify my product? Like, what prompted the change? What was the problem? Before making any of these decisions, I always recommend for you and for us and for our team to get more data, right? This is data is something that we're going to touch base a lot on our podcast because data is king for us. I don't believe that in the boutique fitness industry, the martial art industry, the dance, the yogas, that we focus a lot on data, right? It's more feel as a business owner, right? Experience that we've accumulated over the years of being in the business. What I'm saying, if we can back that up with also data that we collect over time, it's just going to make our decision making better. That's all. That's why I'm so focused on data. So the data that I wanted was this. As we're looking at our team, I always ask them, hey, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? That's the first thing. What's the problem? And is there even a problem? Are we just changing things up just for the sake of changing it? Or is there an actual real business problem that we're trying to solve? And is simplifying our product the way to solve it, right? So these are the data and the questions that I ask, that our team focus on. And in our case, we were seeing that customers were quitting because they were stuck at one particular level of training. In the martial arts, we call that a specific belt, for too long. The curriculum that we were teaching, specifically the form, which is a pattern of stances and strikes, which is a choreographed set of martial art moves, okay? The form was just too hard for the students to learn. And since it took them too long to learn it, they didn't see the progress that they want to see week after week. And because of that, they got demotivated. And when they get demotivated, they start to come less. You have to have extra motivation to come to class, or the parents have to drag them. And when that happened, they ultimately quit, which in turn, obviously, is not good for business. So that was a problem for us. And the problem that we're trying to solve, if I just step back and look at, okay, what is the problem that you and your team are trying to solve? Ultimately, if we looked at it, the problem that we're trying to solve is retention. How do we keep members in our business longer? and not members at a specific belt that we were, the first problem was, hey, this form is just too difficult and people are quitting, right? All right, excellent. So if we did that, the easy answer would be, hey, let's just change that set of choreographed moves to something easier, right? If we did that to change it to something simpler, in my opinion at that point, and even now, I think it's like a short-term fix, a quick fix. It's kind of like a Band-Aid that would temporarily solve the problem at the surface level, but it wouldn't heal, right? It wouldn't heal the system as a whole. So I really wanted to dig deeper. I wanted to say, hey, is it only a problem at this particular belt level? Or this is when they're quitting, but has a problem started sooner, right? Or was there other things that are making our students quit at this particular time? So what we did and what I wanted to do was dig deeper into the data, okay? So this is where data really helps us. So we begin to ask questions, right? This is what I want you to do. Start with asking more questions like, why is this form or this pattern designated at that level? Is there a particular reason for it? Who was that curriculum developed for, or a whole curriculum system? Who is it developed for? Did we just adopted a curriculum system that was universally available, but was it really suited for our customers, our business, right? More importantly, and then that turned to who is our customer, right? Which the problem started from, hey, this students are quitting at this level. Why are they quitting? Well, because the form was too hard. Okay, the easy answer is to change the form. But if you dig deeper and you ask more and more questions, ultimately, the question that we needed to answer was who is our customer, right? So this is the second thing, right? We have to understand who our customer is. These questions that we asked led us to this point. And ultimately, if we're going to understand who our customer base is and is coming to our business, this is what we call in business understanding our target market, right? Our target market is a very specific group of people that you're trying to market for that could best use your product that you're selling, and your product would work the best for them, right? That's like the ultimate match. That's what we call the perfect target market. When we did it in our business, we ultimately found the following. It's just really, really like insightful for us, and it kind of like hit us in the face like a kick, like a kick right to our face. 90% of our customers live within a 1 mile radius of our location. So that's the first thing we saw. We're like, okay, wow, they're not driving a long time to get to us, right? And it makes sense. If you're going to come somewhere 2 to 3 times a week, you kind of need it to be close. And then our customer as a whole, all of our 600 students at that time, 600 members, attend class on an average of 1.8 times per week. Okay? So all of our customers, the average came 1.8 times a week. And here's the kicker, the big one. 97% of all of our revenues were coming from members who were under the age of 12. Okay? So why is this important? When we understood all of this, and then we compared it to the product that we were delivering or the curriculum, the martial arts curriculum that we were teaching, we realized that we actually created a system, a curriculum system for a member that attended 3 or more times per week. This is what the system was designed for. This is important because we require a certain amount of classes or attendance at each belt level before someone can get to the next belt and ultimately to their black belt. Our goal was for our member, if they stay with us, to get a black belt in 3 years, right? Well, ultimately, the time frame was way off because if you calculate it based on 3 times per week, and that's what we designed our curriculum for, but the actual members only attended 1.9 times, well, we were wondering why we didn't have as many black belts as we wanted. Well, that was a big like, oh, okay, well, they're not coming 3 times a week. They're actually coming 1.9 times a week. And then the curriculum that we had in place was the same curriculum that we taught to adult students as we did with our 5-year-olds. So let's think about that for a moment, right? Like you're teaching martial arts, like some of the movements are hard, and it doesn't matter if you're, 40 years old or if you're 5 years old, we're teaching you the same curriculum, right? So ultimately, what we found out was at Encourage, we had a curriculum that we designed for our main customers, okay? Those who are paying 97% of our sales, the customers who are 5 to 12 years old, we design a system for them to fail. Let's think about that for a second, okay? But the silver lining, it worked great for adults and teens who made up 3%, so 3% of our revenue. So I mean, if I looked at it, it's like possibly the worst definition for reverse engineering. Like if you're gonna engineer a product, here's 97% of revenue, and here's 3%. Let's design to only keep the 3%, and then if the 97% stayed, good for them. That's pretty much what we did. Okay, and without data, we wouldn't have known this, right? So we pretty much designed a product for us to fail as a business, ultimately. And when we had this data in front of our face, like I said, it was kind of like a kick in the face. And I remember sharing this data in our team meeting, and everyone around that table was just dumbfounded. We can't believe that we've been operating like that for decades, guys. Like decades, we were doing this. We thought we were the best. Like we just did this, and we had 600 customers, and we were so awesome. And we realized that we actually had a system that was failing our students. But even when the answer is clear as day, change is still hard, right? Not everyone's going to buy in. And this is the stigma in our industry, the martial arts industry, is that we've been doing this for so long, why change it, right? And that's the problem with innovation. If someone, maybe you, is not willing to challenge the status quo, to actually do something different to achieve a different result, how would you move something along, right? This is called innovation. Innovation is someone trying something different that produce a better result. That's all it is, right? Otherwise, you're kind of stuck doing the same thing our grandfather did, or father did, or master did, whatever, right? If we stop and really look at the current market right now, our customers have changed. The family dynamic has changed, right? People have different lives now. Kids are into different things. The attention span is shorter. So all of these things are different. We can't be teaching and providing a product that is 20, 30 years old. You got to innovate. You have to change in order to keep up with the student base, with the customer base, right? So next, even when you have that data and you want to make a change, you got to make that decision as a leader, right? Say, hey, we're going to do it. So I made a decision. I told our team, hey guys, we need to build a curriculum system that actually tailors to children ages 4 to 12, which, by the way, makes up 97% of our sales, right? And if I just did that and I said, here's the curriculum. I went into a room, I built it all out. It's the best system. Go and execute it. I think I would lose an opportunity, right, to get their buy-in, to get my staff's buy-in, right? So first, by compiling the data and asking all the questions, I got a little buy-in from our team. They saw the problem. They saw that we were designing, and we have a system actually, a product that didn't really fit our main customers. And so I didn't need to explain to them that we needed a change. They're smart enough to see that a change is needed. If your staff can't see that, I suggest probably changing to a different staff, but that's a different story for a different day. And so instead of locking myself in a room and build out a curriculum system and told them to go execute it, it is better, in my opinion, to actually involve them, okay, and rally them, and ultimately get their buy-in, the ultimate buy-in. So when a person feels connected to the product, to the curriculum, to the change, they will own it and make it theirs. My goal as a leader, is to guide the people that work with me to that outcome. Even if it's your idea, even if it's my idea, we want to make it seem like it's theirs, okay? And the best way to do that is to have them be a part of coming up with the new curriculum system, or be a part of that change, whatever that change is. Have them be a part of that. Have them create it. Have them come up with the foundations, right? To build a system, because when they do that, they get the buy-in. It will seem like it's their idea, and they will fight for it until they die. I promise you. This is the ultimate buy-in. So what I did was I came up with maybe the structure of it, how it would be, However, the actual what part of what to teach, what kick to teach, what punch to kick, what block, what stance, what form at each level, I had each team member actually take ownership of different belt levels. After we all decided on a good structure. And of course, we had an asterisk that says, hey, we're gonna leave some room for adjustments as we go, because we're not gonna pretend like we're gonna strike gold at our first go, right? We may be good at it, but there may be some things that we need to tweak. So just laying that expectation out in front as you go through something like this is always a good idea, right? Always a good idea. So that allows room for mistake too. So that our team doesn't have to feel like they have to be perfect. All right. And so the last thing I want to go over is what are some of the benefits of simplification, simplifying your product and getting to know who your target market is. So how did it go for us? Well, I kind of started this podcast by telling you that we tripled our sales. So I think it went really well. The process ultimately took about 3 months to fully implement and roll out, which is pretty quick in my opinion. And we saw the results really quickly. All right. Since the curriculum was simplified, it allowed our instructors to really work with the students on executing the techniques rather than memorizing steps in a form, right? And because we were just focused on them executing the right kicks, the right block, the right stances, their techniques look better. And because their techniques are more sound, they actually became better martial artists. And the parents love that, right? The parents don't really know what form they're doing, but they can see each technique that the student is doing in class. So they were happy, the parents were. And since we know that most of our members only came twice a week, we actually tailored our program to that attendance level. Instead of thinking it was 3, right? We tailored to 2 times a week. So members stay longer. If they stay longer, they're paying us more, right? The lifetime value of our each member grew. It went higher. And we also changed the price of the membership levels to be benefit based, not attendance based, because we used to have come twice a week or unlimited option, which you pay more. Now we know that most people can't really come unlimited or more than 1.9 times a week. We are able to upgrade people better because it was now benefit based, not attendance based. So time wasn't a factor for people who couldn't make the time but still wanted the premier program option, right? Which I'm going to go more into what we did, specifically pricing on episode 5 of our podcast. If you're wondering, what is benefit-based packaging, price packaging. And lastly, since we kind of identify our target audience, our marketing became much easier. How we design our studios, the workout space became more clear, right? We no longer had to be everything to everybody. We can now be everything to that somebody. And that somebody was parents of students ages 4 to 12, children ages 4 to 12 who wanted to try martial arts. That's what it was. And plus, we also saw a huge increase in the effectiveness of, like I said, our staff recruitment and retention. And so when we hire new staff, we knew who we wanted to hire. Someone who is great with kids and love martial arts, right? We no longer need to be like, oh, you got to teach adults and kids. Since we kind of identify our target market, we just needed someone good with kids and love martial arts. And that potential new team member knew what they were getting into as well. They knew what they were going to do. They were going to teach martial arts to young kids. That's it. And so it made recruiting easier. And because we weren't teaching adults anymore, right? We still have family classes, but they're learning the same curriculum as the children are learning rather than the other way around. We ended our last class ends at 7 p.m. Before we had class at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and even 8:45 at one point. So our staff members were going home pretty late. So now they were done by 7 p.m. They can go home and have dinner with their family. So it allowed our retention to be better. They actually worked less. We had less classes, right? Because we knew where our money maker was, which is really interesting. I'll share more when we go into kind of staff development and staff training and how we kind of lay out staff management and encourage martial arts. But that really helped us because now staff is happy. And not only that, right, we tripled our revenues. We grew from 2 schools to now 5 schools, each one doing over $1 million with this one simple change, right? Focused target marketing and simplification of our curriculum. So there you have it. Here's a quick recap of our product simplification process. Number one, ask questions. Don't just change things for the sake of changing. Get to the main problem of what you're trying to solve. Two, get data. Define your target market. Who are the customers that you're serving? You got to know who they are. All right. And three, get buy-in from your team through involving them with the process of with the change. Get them to think that it's their idea. All right. I hope you enjoyed this product simplification focused episode of the Simple Profit Podcast. Once again, please subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform, as new episodes are released frequently. And also help me with two things. Check out mystudio.io, right? It's really going to help your business. I really believe that. And second, if you're already using My Studio, I appreciate you. Please refer a friend. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next episode.